Welcome to Lifestyle Buzz Today with Orlando. Fresh, innovative, entertaining talk about topics we are all in one way or another involved with. And now, here's your host, Orlando Burgos.
Well, hello, my fellow fun-seeking soldiers. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to another edition of The Connection to Better Living, or as many of us call it, the antidote to boring radio. So that's it. You've been immunized. Put your arm out if you haven't. There you are. Now everything is fine, and you are one of the soldiers in the fun army now. New Jersey people, our hearts go out to you all, and I hope everything is fine for many of you. It's one of these things that happens once in a while. Of course, the politicals are already lining up the fact that it's fossil fuels. So I'm kind of wondering, in the old pirate days, there were super heavy storms at sea, and there were really not many cars or airplanes flying around or driving around at that time. So what was the excuse then, political geniuses? So don't give me any guff, okay? Please. Gubernatorial recall election is heating up. Big push for more in-mail ballots, which I think is a big mistake. More cheating. Texas, I guess over there is heating up in the abortion laws in Texas. Big dispute, and I get the argument about women's rights. I really do, but I think abortion should be more of a shared responsibility topic instead of just making it a women topic. I realize women are the ones who give birth, but guys are also part of the deal, okay? Unless you happen to be into artificial insemination, then other than that, I mean, the guys cannot run away from responsibility. But I think this is more an argument against not so much as abortion, but about irresponsibility, I think. Somebody needs to care for the unborn babies, and the discussion about whether they are alive or not yet, I mean, it doesn't matter. There's a being created, and I think we all need to step up to the plate and bear the responsibility that goes along with it. I mean, it's just you cannot run from it, and it's not the child's fault that we were not careful. Okay. With us today, great guest is the super great Dr. Kathy Gruver, and she's on deck, and she's amazing, and we're going to have a good time with her. So, Mr. Suede, what's up with you?
Oh, just coming in for a great lifestyle buzz with Orlando. That's all we're doing.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to patent this stuff, It's like, the elixir of lifestyle buzz.
Once you do, I'll buy 2 cases off you.
Yeah? Okay, all right. I mean, listen, I had the idea of selling my products on eBay, like my 8x10 photos. Didn't work out. Nobody would pay $1 million for one. So, let's take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, again, Dr. Kathy Gruver. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
In the words of the immortal Henry Morton Stanley, Dr. Gruver, I presume. Hello? Hello?
How's it going?
Very good, very good. Did you hear that introduction I gave you?
I did. It's very impressive.
What can I tell you? You know, I try. How are you? It's been a long time.
I know, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me back.
Yeah, you went on vacation at the time, and I'll forgive you for that part. You know.
Yeah, we're about to leave. Very excited.
You know, if you had to bail for the sake of just getting away for a week, where would you go?
We leave next week for Turkey and Greece.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice.
It's actual vacation. I don't have to work at all, and I'm very grateful.
You know, that's something that I really, really relish, is just to get away. And the problem that I have is that I've been in the travel business for such a long, long time that wherever I go, business always seems to be there. You know, it's like years ago when I was in the auto business, everywhere I went, there was a car manufacturer that I needed to go check out, you know. So
Exactly.
it's one of those things. You just need to get away and de-stress. And speaking of stress, please define stress for us.
Oh, sure. I mean, not that any of us have any stress right now, right? Absolutely.
No. It's an unknown.
Yeah, totally unknown. So stress is a perception that demands are going to exceed our resources. Mm-hmm. So it can also be a threat, real or imagined. So we have that real threat. You know, we're walking down the street, a car jumps the curb, comes at us. We have a real physiological response for that, as we should. But there's that perception of stress, like the boss wants to see us Monday, or what if my flight's delayed, or what if my cryptocurrency drops, or what if, you know, all these things. So it's those what ifs that are going to get us in trouble with the stress.
You know, I come from Costa Rica, and over there's a saying that says that in Costa Rica people work to live, whereas here in America we live to work. And just recently there was an article in the New Yorker stating that Costa Ricans seem to live longer and happier. You know. So it kind of makes you wonder why, when I retired and then decided to pack away from my business, I moved over there, and I got tired of being at leisure. So here I am again, you know. But do you believe that we create our own shortfall or our own problems too much?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we have these really creative minds, and thank goodness, right? It created the computer that I'm on right now, and the cars, and the airplanes, and the technology, and the movies, and that creativity. So we have these amazing brains. The thing about our brains, though, is it can also create all the stuff that drives us crazy. So, you know, if it's Friday afternoon and we're leaving our office, and the boss says, "I want to see you first thing Monday morning," well, our brain is going to take that over now. So we're going to start to create stories in our mind. We're going to start to worry about that. It's probably going to ruin our weekend, not knowing what they want on Monday. We're creating these stories. And our brain's job is to keep us safe above anything. It puts safety above fun, above relaxation, above pleasure. So it's constantly scanning the environment for things that could be wrong, for things that could be a danger or a threat. So in that way, I mean, our brain's out to protect us, but it's working overtime. You know, we do a lot of driving ourselves crazy in our own mind. It's just how our brain works.
Do you think that our brain works in that wave of, like you say, you know, the boss wants to see you on Monday. We don't know if it's the fact that you're going to get a raise, or you're going to get a promotion, or you're going to get, the corner office, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah,
but
we assume it's because they caught us stealing Post-it notes and we didn't get our reports in on time.
yeah, I mean, is it because, we lost our self-assurance way too much to the point where, I've always been employed, and I know what I do, and I know when I mess up, and I fess up right away, Not that I have actually worked for many people before, but, right now it seems to me that everybody's on edge about something.
Well, it's tough, and I think social media is one of the big parts of that. It used to take a long time for news of anything to get to us, and now we can click on the computer and see not only the news of stuff, but everybody's opinion on that news of stuff. And we don't have to hear all other views. We get to turn on one specific channel on either side and hear only what we believe. There's a tweet of only what we believe. There's a Facebook page of only what we believe, and it starts to create a lot of stress. News networks and news channels love us to be under stress because that sells newspapers, that sells airtime. So I think part of it is just the environment of everything that's going on. I think the other part of it is we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It's very stressful. There's so many unknowns about what's happening, and I think that's really putting a lot of strain on us.
Well, the fact
and again,
is that
our brain wants to help us make sure we're protected against things that could go wrong. So it's going to run us through every scenario of the what ifs. We can get out of that by staying present. If the boss says, I want to see you first thing Monday morning, and you go, okay, and then you stay present on that Friday, it's going to be a very different outcome in your brain. So I think part of it is being present, and it's so easy to be distracted everywhere else. There's always something else to look at, always something else to do. And I don't think we're still enough. I don't think we sit and know ourselves enough that we're not pulled in all these different directions.
I have always loved the idea of wherever I happen to be working, I have always loved the idea of distance from home. At least 45 minutes drive. I don't care. But the thing is that in that 45 minutes, I listen to radio, I look outside the window, I roll down the window, I smell whatever happens to be out there. And when I get home, I'm in a totally different set of mind. I'm no longer wired about whatever happened, because I've always had the situation or the advantage of saying, whatever happened at the office will be here tomorrow. And I need to just put the lock on and go.
Yeah.
Not everybody's able to do that. It seems to me that everybody's always like, they enjoy that adrenaline of the, of the weird. The imagination. And it's always on the negative side.
Yeah. To a certain extent, we are wired that way. Like I said, our brain, that's what its job is. And I think part of it is, and I don't know if we can argue nurture or nature, if you grew up in a household where everything seemed dangerous, where everything was, oh, are you okay? Oh, don't touch that. If that's what you got from your parents, then you are growing up, going through those stages of development, believing the world is an unsafe place. So as you get older, you're going to start to look at the world as an unsafe place. Yeah. So, my mother was, everything was wrong with my mother and my grandmother. If you were 5 minutes late for dinner, they had you dead in a ditch. Didn't consider traffic, or maybe you got stuck on a phone call, or maybe you lost track of time. It was, you were dead. She was never going to see you again. That's just the fatalism, kind of negative, very paranoid family that I grew up in. And luckily, I was able to look more towards my dad and go, just have fun. I'm sure everything's fine. Yeah. So I was able to consciously make that choice. But, we all have these different aspects of our personality. And if we have one that's a little more anxious, a little more worried, and that's going to come forward, it's going to dominate us.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, hold on to that thought, because I have a question for you. We'll be right back.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
When you invest, what do you need? Investors need foresight and prediction so they can invest with confidence. Is the stock market going up and down? What about precious metals or Bitcoin? The stock market may be treading water right now, but now may be a more opportune time to invest in precious metals. Are gold and silver booming? What do you buy? Bullion? Mining stocks? Which ones? The cryptocurrency market is also advancing strongly, but which ones do you buy? John Truman Wolfe, former banker and #1 best-selling author, gives you the answers in his widely read newsletter, Strategic Financial Intelligence, available at strategicfinancialintelligence.com. Wolf called the breakout of the gold market and the breakout of the silver market. He may not have a crystal ball, but his investment picks tell a story. Metals and digital currencies are on the move. Don't miss out. Go to strategicfinancialintelligence.com and get the Strategic Financial Intelligence newsletter today. strategicfinancialintelligence.com.
And with us, Dr. Kathy Gruver. Before we went on break, I wanted to ask you a question because you brought up a point of our mind and social media and all of that works.
Yep.
I understand. I'm not minimizing this COVID situation at all. Not at all. I know it's a pandemic, the whole thing. However, do you think that we have actually allowed for it to become more of what it is than because of our way of thinking, our fatalistic way of thinking?
No, I don't think this is one of those situations because a couple reasons. And it's funny, last year, like last March, I was supposed to do a talk in person. We were debating about whether it was going to actually happen, and I finally ended up going. There was about 18 people there when there should have been 300. And the woman said, hey, you're going to be talking about stress. Can you address COVID? And I said, no. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? It's the same stress.
Yeah, right.
And then I started to think about it, and I realized it's actually not, because we've never faced something like this before. There were so many unknowns. There was so much information that seemed right at the time and then had to change because of research and because of discoveries. And I mean, this was right when it started. And there was so much, are schools open, are schools closed? There's the, do I get to go to work? Do I not get to go to work? And we didn't know when it was going to be over, and it's still not, so in that way, it's different than that stress we're creating in our minds. Now, there are people who are much more worried about it than other people who maybe have no reason to be. I have clients whose kids, they're young, they're healthy, they're in their early 30s, they're vaccinated, and they're still having groceries delivered. They will not leave the house.
Right.
That's their mind, and that's their choice. I mean, they can both work from home, and that's just the choice they made. And then there are other people who are at high risk who are just like willy-nilly out and about. So in that way, you have to decide what works best for you. But I don't think this is one of those examples where we're driving ourselves crazy about it. I think it's just such an unknown thing, and we just don't know what the answer is yet.
The reason why I ask is because although I look like I'm 15 years old, I'm not. I grew up as a child during the polio pandemic of the 50s, okay? And at the time I was in Costa Rica as a kid. And there was no vaccine. I mean, you would hear the news and all of that. My mom and a lot of the mothers, they kind of came up with the idea that fresh air and exercise and keeping the body strong, because they believe very strongly, and as I do, and I think I maybe you do, that we have this inner strength that promotes healing within. I think we all have that ability to promote that positive thinking,
Sure.
So at one point, somebody came up with the idea that, garlic is the best deterrent for polio, and my mom would put a little piece of garlic in my pocket when I went to school, A lot of the mothers, though, kept their kids indoors. They were totally afraid and that whole thing. And in retrospect, now I'm looking at my friends. The ones that really never went out were the ones more affected than the ones who were always at the river and playing soccer and jumping all over the place. So I don't know if it's a situation where you can promote yourself into a wellness state. And now, granted, at that time, polio was not live on TV like it is today, so that's one of the things that we have going on today, that everything is live. Yeah, so anyway.
Well, and to your point, yes, we want to stay in the healthiest state we can, and stress depletes our immune system. So it becomes this vicious cycle, right? So if we're stressed about something that depletes our immune system, we're more apt to get sick. So when it was just that normal sort of cold and flu season that I just sort of long for now, the cold and flu season, and people were saying, I hope I don't get sick. Oh, don't get me sick. Oh, do I look sick? And they're reiterating this idea of illness. It's actually stressing them out, depleting their immune system, and they're more apt to get sick. So if we can do things like affirmations, visualization, doing what we can to keep this environment healthy, then we're going to be less apt to get sick. Now, having said that, I do affirmations, visualization all the time. I take my immune boosting supplements. We eat well. I have a pretty good lifestyle as far as exercise and food and diet, that sort of thing. I'm still not going to lick a doorknob. I'm still going to take the precautions that I need to make sure that I'm staying as safe as I can, and I want to keep this environment inhospitable to the germs that are being around me. So I think it's a little bit of both.
All right. Commercial time. We'll be right back with more of Kathy Gruver.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic. Market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our peach Bellini martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
All right, is that a Q2 or Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA.
No.
To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's been tough talking to my doctor about constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. I finally laid all my symptoms out there and how they keep coming back. She said I may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. We agreed it's time to try something different.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by Abbey and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
All right, we are back. And to close the segment on stress, you mentioned something that I want to ask. Affirmation is one of the key elements for emotional strength. Can you explain how to use it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and 50,000 of those are negative. And when you think things, it leads to the same similar thought. So the more negative stuff you think, the more negative stuff you're going to think. And if we can break that cycle and shift us to the positive, one, it's going to help decrease the stress, and two, it can actually help us get the outcomes we want. So rather than saying something like, I don't have enough money, I'm broke, I can't afford that, saying things like, I am prosperous and abundant, money flows easily to me, I accept money from unexpected sources. You could do this for your health, you could do this for relationships, you could do this for your weight. It shifts your thinking. And the key to those affirmations is to make them short, positive, and in the present moment. So just short, I am happy and surrounded by supportive friends. I am loved. I am fabulous. I am at peace. All of these things start to shift our thinking. And the key to these, Orlando, if you want to do them really crazy good, is write them out in cursive, that loopy writing they don't teach us anymore, and do them in that last half hour before you go to sleep, because that's when our brain is the most susceptible and suggestible to information. So if you write those out right before you go to bed, it's going to process throughout your sleep. It's going to go directly to the subconscious. And because our brain moves towards things which it knows, it moves towards things that it's familiar with, saying those positive things helps lead our brain to creating space and creating opportunities to get us to those positive things. So
I have
brief thing on affirmations.
That's so cool. I have noticed that if I go to sleep thinking about a problem, I toss and turn all night long.
Yep.
If I think about the fact that I'm going to the beach the next day, I can hardly wait to get up, and sometimes you just drag along. Let's switch gears here to something that I've always been curious about, and that is there are 4 basic types of people: type A, type B, type C, type D. You happen to be type A. Now, do these types switch? And then I'll ask you, I want to ask a question about that. Do they switch? Can you switch?
I have not seen evidence of that. So what I've seen is it's sort of a continuum. We all have our moments where we have to be type A. We're rushing for the flight. We have to organize ourselves to get to work. So, you throw that like type A personality on. I'm on that a lot. That's just sort of my go-to state. The type Bs, they're known to be more relaxed, more laid back, less stressed, that sort of thing. I have my moments where I'm like that, where I'll have an entire day without having to be type A. So I think it's not so much that we can shift them like as who we are, but I know we kind of flow through all of them. That's just sort of the way our bodies and brains and stuff work. Now, I'm not familiar with type D. I've actually never heard of that. Type C is sort of a controversial one. It's called the Cancer type, and they've noticed that there's a certain personality type that seemed more prone to get, especially breast cancers, I think, when they studied that. So that's not necessarily kind of falling in the same thing as type A and type B, but there are people and researchers that believe there is this sort of type C personality. So I don't know how well researched that one's been. So just to clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, I checked it out, and type A, people on the go, the go-getter, no boundaries, it's something just go, the pusher. Type B, calming, dependable. Type C, the perfectionist, often mired by small details that derails their entire psyche. And type D, the existential, the people who are dependent type of things. The reason why I ask is because I have always been like you, no mountain too high. I've always been on the quest of what's out there. I need to know. I need to see what's out there. And maybe I became an aviator because I needed to find out how fast I could go, and I was a military pilot, and so this is the speed of sound. Can I go faster than this? That type of stuff. But circumstances kind of came into the picture, and it seems to me that for a long, long time, I kind of lost that edge. I became more passive, more, that type of stuff, until somebody knocked me on the side of the head and said, "Hey, this is your black cloud. This is not you," And then I started getting into my groove again, So I guess as human beings, we do have high moments, good moments. So you're right in that regard. You're not a type A straight across, and there's nothing wrong with you if you just happen to be calm for a moment, right?
Yeah, we all have those moods that wax and wane. Nothing stays perfectly even. We all have those ups and downs, and I think one of the things to appreciate about that is that's part of the human experience. You're never going to feel those highs all the time, and though we don't want to hover in the lows, and if they're really low, you definitely want to seek help for that. But it is just these moments of this up and down and that flow, and it's about enjoying that. Enjoying that sort of circular motion and just going with it, just enjoying what you have in front of you in that moment.
Is it that we don't, for one reason or another, because of the stress cycle, because of many things that we find troublesome, like I find Facebook to be troublesome, because it is no longer something that you can communicate with friends in a friendly manner.
Right.
Now, if you say the sky is blue, somebody's going to say, well, what shade of blue? I mean, no, it's darker here. And so you're in winter over there. I'm in summer here. So people just don't seem to really want to have a happy medium, And then there's always the people that, my lawn is turning yellow. Can somebody tell me why? And then you go like, oh God, So again, so maybe we're just spending way too much time not chatting with each other instead of in person.
Patience, grace, tolerance.
Yeah.
Those are good words.
Another little break, and when we come back, more of Kathy Gruver. We'll be right back.
Since 1954, has been serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's is still doing something right. It's why so many travel from the west side and the valleys to experience and enjoy what Eagle Rock has known for years. Columbo's is truly something special. Columbo's serves up some of the most succulent, delicious steaks as well as outstanding seafood offerings in all of Southern California. And the Columbo family's Italian specialties are worth the trip from anywhere. Columbo's is a memory maker. Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's, of course.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing, and you always need to be sticking your fingers. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. You simply apply a discreet, easy-to-use sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger pricks. If you test your blood sugar at least 4 times per day and inject insulin at least 3 times per day, or use an insulin pump and have private insurance or Medicare, you might be eligible for a CGM with little or no cost to you. Call U.S. Medical Supply today for a free benefits check. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill Medicare or your insurance directly. Call now and say goodbye to finger pricks.
800-633-1378. 800-633-1378. 800-633-1378. That's 800-633-1378.
All right, we are back with the terrific Kathy Gruver, Dr. Kathy Gruver. You do a lot of consulting for corporations.
Yes.
Okay. What seems to be, well, you have 5 topics that you covered according to your website. Relationship, empowerment, business executive, /executive, life/personal, stress/well-being. Which one is actually, because I've always been a business owner. It's only been a couple of times where I worked for somebody else. And it's not easy running a company. It's not. I mean, when you have a lot of staff, pain in the butt. What is the main topic that people, let's say, ask of you to try to fix in their environment?
Yeah, from the personal standpoint, a lot of it is relationships. I end up doing a lot of relationship coaching, and that could be not only in the personal realm of boyfriend, girlfriend, partners, husband, wife, also in offices. I'm seeing a lot of relationship conflict right now. So communication is one of the biggest things that we end up discussing. There's so many ways to misinterpret communication. If you're stressed, your communication and your leadership are horrible. That's definitely affected by the stress that we just talked about. So I think that's probably the top one, is a lot of relationship stuff, which then kind of intermingles with the communication realm. So that tends to be what I get a lot of calls for.
Is it because for some reason or another, there seems to be an invisible wall being created between males and females? It's like at the workplace, or it's very difficult to actually have a friendly relationship. Am I off the chart on that?
I don't know. It sort of depends. It depends on the work environment. And I think one of the biggest barriers in the last year has been so many people are now virtual, which a lot of people are really fine with. I'm a visual kinesthetic, so I actually, when I worked in offices, I loved being in that office environment. I loved seeing Bob in the hall and being able to stop and fix that business, as opposed to, when can you jump on Zoom? I have a question. So I think that's a lot of the stress. And then you figure, then you've got kids at home. So you're suddenly also a 3rd grade and a 7th grade teacher. So you get off your kid's Zoom call, and now you're on your work Zoom call, and then you're doing a workshop on Zoom, and I think we're just all sort of zoomed out. I was happy to log into Skype this morning. I'm like, oh, a different platform. I think that's one of the big issues, and I think we're all being very careful about how we phrase things and what we say, and for a lot of people that's really comfortable, and for some people it's not. So I think there's just a lot of miscommunication going on right now, especially with text and emails. You're putting your tone on their message, and so often that's wrong. We don't ask enough questions. We don't clarify, what did you really mean by that? Hey, you look like you weren't paying attention. Are you distracted? We don't question these things. We take them personally. We process them with the lens that we're looking out of, and that can lead to some huge communication issues, both in relationships at home and in relationships at the office. So I think just taking that step back and asking more questions, being curious, I think that's the key to so much communication, is being present, really listening, and then being curious about what the other person's really saying and meaning and what they're communicating.
Is it advisable for, let's say, somebody who's operating a business where, let's say, 10 people is a good enough base, to announce it right off the bat that we're going to have, you're welcome to work with us, blah, 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 but we have, every month, we have a let it all hang out type of thing where we're going to just talk openly about everything with no repercussions, but we're going to try to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Is that advisable?
I think that's a great idea. I think the problem is you can't be the boss in facilitating that. This is where somebody like myself comes in as a corporate coach and sits down, where it's a safe environment, where there's a certain level of, not anonymity, but if you need to have a beef with somebody else, you need a place to openly be able to do that without that person sitting there. It might come down to conflict resolution after the fact, but you need to have that safe place to say things. And I'll give you examples of what I mean. I had a client that I was coaching, and she said, I'm having problems with my boss. I said, what's the problem? He said that he doesn't take questions. And so he would hand this poor girl a project and say, make it better. Well, she didn't know what that meant, and she wasn't allowed to ask questions. So, right there you have this wall set up by the boss who just didn't want to have his time wasted. I'm sure he's had people who walk in his office and blah, 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 blah. And so he doesn't get stuff done. And so we determined he was a direct communicator. I said, is he visual or auditory? She said, visual. I said, great. Email him and ask him 3 things. Say, when can I come to your office? For 10 minutes, I have 3 questions. And then you have to stick to that, and he accepted her 10 minutes. They got the 3 questions answered in 8 minutes. And as she walked out the door, he said, thank you so much for doing this. Any questions you have, you let me know. So she had to morph herself to what he was going to need from a communication standpoint. She was direct. She knew what she needed. She knew what she wanted. She asked the questions to get the work done. We need to have more of that kind of communication. But for a boss to say, I don't take questions, here, go make that better, that's insane. You can't do your job that way. So he created an environment of fear and emotional unsafeness in the office that didn't need to be there. So we handled it.
I guess he was more of a boss and not enough of a leader, I'm supposed.
Yes. Oh, beautiful, Orlando. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Doctor, give us all your contact information, please, and how can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, so kathygruver.com if you're interested in any of the speaking work that I do, or kathygruver.coach. I love to help. I'm all over social media as either Kathy Gruver or Dr. Kathy Gruver. And Orlando, this has been so great. Thank you so much for having me back. I love your show.
We're going to have to do it again and again. That's all there is to it. Doctor, we'll be talking on the phone right after the show. Thank you. Thanks. With that in mind, let's take a little bit. We'll be right back.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Columbo's, since 1954, has been serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's is still doing something right. It's why so many travel from the West Side and the Valleys to experience and enjoy what Eagle Rock is known for years. Columbo's is truly something special. Columbo's serves up some of the most succulent, delicious steaks, as well as outstanding seafood offerings in all of Southern California. And the Columbo family's Italian specialties are worth the trip from anywhere. Columbo's is a memory maker. Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock, 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, serving up fine dining and a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's, of course.
Now it's time for MedVed's Entertainment Minute.
Acclaimed actors James McAvoy and Sharon Horgan play a British couple struggling to keep their relationship alive in the face of a pandemic and a lockdown in the riveting drama Together, now playing in theaters.
They've just announced the lockdown.
We're getting through it. I don't want to go back to normal.
And this remarkable film is far better than normal, with two superb performers seemingly trapped in their own kitchen over the course of more than a year and oscillating wildly between expressed hatred for one another and deep abiding love. With just two characters addressing the audience as if we were a visitor in their home, director Stephen Daldry, who previously created Billy Elliot, The Hours, and episodes of The Crown, avoids any hint of claustrophobia or gimmickry. It's rated R for loads of harsh language and vivid descriptions of death and suffering, but it's ultimately a profoundly uplifting film and probably one of the best of this year. 4 stars for Together.
Alrighty, well, Dr. Gruver is gone. My God, I'm gonna miss her. She is such a wonderful guest. I swear to God. I really enjoy her conversation. I really enjoy seeing her on TED. She's all over the place. She is one of the best. One of the best. What do you think, Mr. Slade?
Oh, I loved it. I loved getting to sit back and listen to her talk. She's so interesting.
I know. It's like she's so chill and relaxed, but yet, very informative, very... Mm-hmm. Really knowledgeable about the topics that she talks about. So.
Yeah, she doesn't put any pressure on it, but she also knows enough that she will get her point across.
Yeah. I really enjoy having guests that see Lifestyle Buzz for what it is, which is two friends having a chat. Not very many shows out there that are like that. And some of them are very targeted information questions and catch you type things, and with me, it's a very relaxed conversation because what we need is to put out knowledge of what it is that our guests do. So anyway, that's very, very good. For information about the show, if you have comments or if you have suggestions, I love to hear them. LifestyleBuzzToday@gmail.com. And I answer every single email that I get. So just go ahead and send them to me, and you'll get an answer. And if you want to read more about the show and learn how to connect from my website to the show live, There's two ways. Go to www.lifestylebuzz.today. I've been asked many times how come the .com doesn't work. It's not. It's lifestylebuzz.today. And you get it there. There's a big red button that says connect to live show. And here we are. Or you can go to, also you can go to the blog section and press the red button there too and connect to all our past shows on YouTube directly. So see, I've done all the work for you. Now, if you're not enjoying the show, shame on you. Anyway, what was that stern enough there, Mr. Swain?
I think that's perfect. Yeah, if you can't seem to find Orlando, then it's your problem.
I mean,
that's your problem.
Really? I mean, God. I mean, anyway. What else can I say? I want to kind of make a plea to all people out there, is that there's a little bit too much anger going on. It's a little bit too much confusion. I know that all of us want to throw away the mask and fight on the vaccination part and all that type of stuff. You know what? Don't be so hard on yourself. If you feel like that, get information. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there that can guide you. Don't just get angry and start throwing stuff up in the air. Don't be so angry at Facebook just because nobody's going to come over and punch you in the nose. I mean, just chill. People need to really just have a good time. I mean, it's life is difficult enough without having to be angry all of the time. You think it's right?
Absolutely. I think we all need to calm down, smile, laugh, and watch more Lifestyle Buzz.
Well, you know what? I mean, if they're not doing it right now, I mean, they're rotten people. No. Let's just chill, all right? Have a good time. In the meantime, share a smile, share a handshake, share a good life with somebody that you know, and we'll see you next week. God bless.